Even in 2022, if you were to ask the average Westerner what name comes to mind when you say the word psychology, they would answer Sigmund Freud, or perhaps just Freud. Indeed, Freud's impact on the field of psychology, and even further to Western thought in general, cannot be understated. Freud was a neurologist who lived from 1859 to 1939, and developed a clinical practice for treating psychological challenges that he called psychoanalysis. Psychoanalysis, as the name suggests, is an analysis of an individual's psychic processes. It was really the first form of talk therapy, and it was based on Freud's belief that psychological distress could be alleviated by bringing unconscious psychological material into consciousness, so that it could be integrated into a more mature psychological state. Freud's original framework for psychoanalysis involved months, even years of discussion with the client. During the sessions, the client would lay down on the quintessential therapist couch with their back to Freud and talk about whatever came to their mind, a process that Freud called free association. When it comes to the psychology of religion, Freud is a significant historical character. It has been said that Freud's theories are the first of their kind, a divergence from religious explanations of the human mind. He was really the first to provide a robust framework for human thought that did not include theological concepts like the immortal soul, spirit, angels, demons, and mind reading by an all-knowing, all-powerful father figure God. Freud wrote 3 books about the psychology of religion: Totem and Taboo in 1913, The Future of an Illusion in 1927, and Moses and Monotheism in 1937. In recent years, Freud's theories, and psychoanalysis in general as a clinical practice, have fallen out of fashion. Some therapists still practice psychoanalysis today, but the evidence base for this practice is not as deep as with more modern therapeutic modalities. That's not to say that psychoanalysis doesn't work, just that the research backing it is not as robust. One issue with Freud's work is that he assertively states that his theory of the human mind is scientific. He talks about the evolution of human thinking as it progresses from animism to monotheistic religion and finally to a more scientific approach. But Freud's basis for stating that his approach is scientific rests on his years of N=1 experience in psychoanalysis. He speaks as if his cumulative experience in the therapy room constitutes evidence for his theories, throwing out the possibility of his own confirmation bias and subjectivity. That is to say, his theories have not been tested by randomized and controlled studies in a research laboratory to confirm his hypotheses. That being said, one cannot be unimpressed with Freud's cocksuredness as displayed in Totem and Taboo. There's no doubt that Freud spent a lot of time thinking about thinking, and he holds himself and others to ruthlessly honest self-evaluation. Freud is unafraid to highlight and analyze all of the unseemly elements of the human psyche, the violent, the sexual, and the immature. It is obvious from his writing that he has bravely reckoned with these socially unacceptable impulses in himself, and subsequently can see them with clarity in others. Despite his appeal to dark psychology, Freud's confidence is refreshing. He's pejorative in the way he speaks of individuals who suffer, calling them mentally ill, a phrase I prefer to avoid, and worse yet, referring to them as neurotics. This is the sort of language that is avoided nowadays in the field of mental health. We don't call people schizophrenics or depressives, etc. But Freud's arrogance comes with dogged optimism. Freud is of the opinion, and he was the first one to boldly say so, that by simply talking with an individual, that is by psychotherapy, they can recover from depression, compulsion, anxiety, and obsession. In Totem and Taboo, Freud even cites another author who was, and I quote, a highly intelligent man, a former sufferer from compulsion neurosis who, after being cured through psychoanalytic treatment, was able to demonstrate his efficiency and good sense. This reminded me of the approach of Satz that we discussed in episode 2, also a psychoanalyst and a student of Freud, who viewed depression and anxiety as conditions that an individual can overcome as they learn about themselves, reject infantile fantasies, and learn the rules of social game playing. According to Freud, an adamant atheist, part of the infantile fantasy that contributes to less than optimal mental states is religion.